So unfortunately, the offseason for the Minnesota Vikings, but it is kind of nice in the offseason is all the hypothetical trades because it is trade season. It is the hot stove season. It is whatever. And on this channel, maybe we have a reputation of just throwing poo against the wall, see if it sticks. I don't know. All right, so we randomly just throw out a poll. We questioned you, the Jeromes. Would you trade Danielle Hunter, again, 28 years old, superstar edge rusher, for Trey Lance, who could and should still be a future franchise quarterback? Niners traded up heaven and earth for him 2 years ago, got hurt this year, opened up the door for Brock Purdy, and now Purdy looks pretty good. So Trey Lance could be on the trade block this offseason. So we asked you, the Jeromes. 12,000 Jeromes weighed in, and it's hilarious. It is exactly 50-50. Now, if you look closely, if you zoom in and enhance, it does look like it is slightly So maybe it's like 50.1 versus 49.9. Either way, super close. And this is where things get really interesting, where it's like if it's a no-brainer trade, if this thing was like 90-10 either direction, it's not worth talking about. But now it does get super interesting. Now, I understand the drawback. Trey Lance is already headed into year 3 of his rookie deal. That's one of the great competitive advantages when you have a starting quarterback on his rookie deal. And you're going to roll with Kirk next year, maybe even the year after that. So you may just be trading for Trey Lance to sit behind Kirk and absorb Kevin O'Connell's offense, but you may need a new contract for him by the time that he hits the ground running by 2025. And Danielle, he proved that this year he's phenomenal. He's good to go. And then you'd be just enriching an NFC rival, and the Niners would just be ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So I get it there. But with Trey Lance, Trey played sparingly his rookie year, was a starter this season, was sort of shaky up and down, eventually broke his ankle against the Seahawks, and that did open things up for Jimmy G, and then Jimmy G got hurt, and then Brock Purdy came in, etc. But I still think that Trey Lance has a ton of potential, and of course, the pride of Marshall, Minnesota, even though the Gophers, PJ, in his infinite wisdom, didn't offer him. He had the kid who's the number 3 overall pick in the draft, a quarterback, but okay, let's just roll with Tanner Morgan again. Fine. But he had a phenomenal one season as a starter at NDSU Go Bison, and he ended up being taken very high in the draft after the Niners traded up heaven and earth to go get him, 2 1s and a 3, which turned into... Oh, man. All right, so they traded up for Waddle, and then they traded one of the firsts for Tyreek. Then they traded the other first for Bradley Chubb, which I don't know, seems pretty good. Seems like not a bad return. But going back to a scouting report from a couple years ago, this is from Lance Zierlein, NFL.com. Draft projection round 1. One-year starter who dazzled in 2019. Lance is mature for his age, but will just be 20 years old at the time of 2021 NFL draft. He's a rare dual-threat quarterback, and what he's tasked with setting his own protections and reading the full field. Coaches rave about his football IQ and film work. They believe he will come into the league more football savvy than most of the quarterbacks in this draft. Tape shows very average arm strength, but velocity should improve with better lower body drive. While his recognition of coverage danger is a plus, he's currently more of a yellow light quarterback who needs to find a green light, risk-taking mentality to become a playmaking talent in the NFL. An offense coordinator willing to blend his run-pass talent with a play-action attack could get the most out of Lance, who should become a good NFL starter. And that's the potential that you're still betting on. And that's what the Niners were betting on when they traded up everything. But circumstances... I mean, it made it sort of weird. I mean, Trey Lance breaking his ankle opened things up for Jimmy G, and then Jimmy G going down. Brock Purdy now looks like he's going to be a damn solid starter in the National Football League, and that does make Trey Lance expendable. Now, for Danielle, like we said, Danielle proved that he was fully healthy this year, played in all 17 games and the playoff game, 10.5 sacks, showed that he's still that guy and still an elite edge rusher, and he's only going to be 29 next October. But the problem with Danielle is when they paid his rooster bonus, redid his contract last offseason, it basically set it up where he's in a contract year. So Danielle right now is slated to make $4.9 million base salary, which obviously isn't going to happen. So the Vikings either need to extend Danielle, which I would be for, or trade Danielle. Now, the Vikings are bereft of talent on defense, and if they want to get 2 birds with 1 stone, if they want to rebuild the defense, and also they want their future franchise quarterback, they can get both by using the draft picks or free agency on the defense, as well as trading Danielle for Trey Lance, if that makes sense. And if the Vikings are committed to sticking with the 3-4, I do not want to see Danielle as a stand-up outside linebacker again. He is a hand in the dirt 4-3 defensive end. If they go back to that, or at least run a hybrid mix, which is predominantly an even front, I would be okay with that. But if I'm Danielle's agent, if I'm Danielle, if the Vikings are going to run 3-4 again, I'm getting out of town. I'm finding a 4-3 team. So that's where things could stand right now. So overall, I mean, I understand the hesitation with Trey Lance. He didn't look fantastic before he broke his ankle. Also, he's already 2 years into his rookie deal, even though he still is a super young player. And with Danielle, he proved that he was healthy. Would love to keep him around, but that's what gives him value in the trade market. But also enriching the Niners and just making the best defense in the NFL and then giving them a fully healthy and in his prime Danielle Hunter. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I do think that finding the successor to Kirk Cousins this offseason should be a priority. And I think Kwesi can get creative. And, of course, him and John Lynch go way back like chiropractic. John Lynch was a bit of a mentor to Kwesi from back in the day. So that line of communication could be open. And we'll see what happens. But I fully understand why the results are 50-50 with Cristobal in this spot, because you see both sides, and it would be a tough decision. But, yeah, not bad for a random 4 a.m. Just like, hey, how about this? There you go. But your thoughts are thoughts. Poll results. Should the Vikings trade Danielle Hunter for Niners quarterback Trey Lance, the pride of Marshall, Minnesota? Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.